Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here on my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Taking a go out today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale today. Today though, some of the big releases that come out is Where Did You Go Bernadette, as well as Angel Has Fallen. I don't know if Angel Has Fallen has any exclusives for that one or not, so we'll definitely have to see. Also though too, you know, since Black Friday is this Thursday, a lot of times too, the stores sometimes have some of the stuff already out. So we'll definitely go and see too if any of the stores have some of the stuff set up. And a lot of times it's like all covered over. And sometimes in like Best Buy, they actually have all the movies out already, like they have in the past. So we'll see if all that stuff is already set up in, you know, in Best Buy and stuff. Also, at the end of this video, it's gonna be a whole bunch of brand new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys. Some really cool stuff. So definitely stay tuned for those at the end. And as always too, let me know in the comments below, though, what you guys thought of the DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks that I reviewed at the end of this video. You know, what you guys thought of them, if you guys have seen them. Also, if you guys plan on picking any of them up. But anyway, though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today.
Into Target we go.
Also, this past weekend, I posted up a video. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's a video with me and Danny Sinderstalker doing a new movie hunting video. And we found like a closing video store. Everything was like $1. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff. So definitely check out the video if you guys haven't seen it. Also in the comments below too, let me know, because I'm doing a, like I said, I'm doing the Black Friday video. So let me know if there's anything specific you guys would like me to show in the Black Friday video, like any specific things for sale, just anything all around, because I go to the main spots, you know, Best Buy, Target, Walmart. So just like I said, let me know in the comments below if there's anything specific you guys would like me to show for that Black Friday video.
But over here though, in the front though, I do see the one big thing that came out today, Angel Has Fallen, and that one is $19.99 for the Blu-ray. I know there's a 4K as well. I'll have to look in the section to see if they have any 4Ks of that for sale here. We look though on the other side. Seems to be all, they have like the DVD over here for Angel Has Fallen for $14.99, and then let's see if there's anything else on this side. Yeah, there's just some like holiday stuff. But like I was saying about the Black Friday stuff, these are like the kind of things that they have out, like right here. These things here for like these books. But sometimes they have like, these are how they put all the movies into these kind of cases. But sometimes like mixed in, I've seen like, usually around this area, I've seen some of the Black Friday stuff out already, but I'll see if I see anything though.
And I did find the stuff out. Now these things here are already on sale. These movies right here have already gone on sale, but the other things over here don't go on sale till 5 p.m. on Thursday. You know, it's called Black Friday, but it technically starts on Thursday for most stores. Yeah, so 5 p.m. the prices on all these are gonna change. And there was a decent amount though of 4Ks I saw here. Some newer titles like Spider-Man Far From Home, 4K wise, Bohemian Rhapsody over there for the Blu-ray, stuff like the Santa Claus. Like I said, I don't know for sure what the prices is going to be on these ones yet, because the tags are not out. Online though, you guys can find the prices already. They had a bunch of HBO shows there, like seasons of Game of Thrones. Some of the stuff you've seen in years past, other things are new. John Wick 2 over there, or Bumblebee 4K, let's see, the Matrix 4K, more seasons of Game of Thrones, stuff over here, like Home Alone. But like I said, those ones already seem to be on sale already. Back over here though, there was like the Lego Movie, A Dog's Way Home, Secret Life of Pets 2, The Grinch 4K, the animated film, Ugly Dolls, Rocket Man. Yeah, but as you can see though, they did have the stuff out though for Black Friday, the movies already. So they were, you know, playing music, so I had to talk all over the you know, narrate over the stuff. But when it comes to the actual section though, yeah, they didn't change anything else out. But they did have, like I said, the one main release, Angel Has Fallen, and I didn't see though Where Did You Go Bernadette. I feel like they probably will have that in here. I'm not sure though, but like I said, they usually don't change out the section till like much later in the day. It's actually later than normal too. It's already like 1 something, but surprisingly they didn't. You know, they, like I said, didn't change all the stuff out though.
Into Walmart we go. But here though, you can see all these spaces here. This is where all the stuff's gonna be, like the stuff they put, like the big sale items. So that's why there's all this space right here in the middle to kind of leave it open for where the things are gonna be. But as you can see right here though, this is definitely all a lot of the Black Friday stuff, because you see it has the stuff like taping it all over so you can't get into it. It says merchandise not available till 6 p.m. on, you know, November 28th. So yeah, this is like some of the clothes and stuff. They usually put like the movies and stuff like sometimes in the frozen food section. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is like usually how the way they do it. They have a lot of it all together like this, and they kind of just take all the stuff off. I usually witness them removing all the stuff covering it over right at that time. But in here today, though, like I was saying, the big thing that came out was Angel Has Fallen, and the 4K of that one is $24.96 here. The Blu-ray DVD combo is $19.96, and it's $14.96 for the DVD of that one. Also, this movie here, this zombie movie called The Driver. This one released today. This is kind of like sort of like the Walking Dead kind of vibe to this. This guy, a whole group of people who all live in this kind of compound where there was a terrible zombie outbreak that happened, and he's there with his daughter, but then the zombies get in and they have to get away, and it's like a road movie of them trying to figure out where they're going to go. And that one's $12.96 for that one. Also, though, this movie here, I'm going to talk about this one at the end of this video as well, called Mary, starring Gary Oldman. That one released today, and that's $14.96 for the Blu-ray, and then $12.96 for the DVD of that one. Other than that, though, this movie released today for $14.96. It seems like they only have the DVD of it called Don't Let Go. If you guys have seen this one, though, let me know how this one was, if this one is worth picking up or not. This is one I didn't get to see in theaters, so I'm not sure about that one. But like I said, if you guys have seen that, let me know how that one was. Other than that, though, over here, I don't really see anything else different. I don't see Where'd You Go, Bernadette. Here doesn't seem to be any spot for that. And here, this area, next Tuesday, all this stuff will be changed out, because they usually change out and get a whole bunch of new stuff. But let's just check, because sometimes they put some of the new stuff over here as well. They kind of mix it in. So let me just see if over here they have anything else different. It doesn't look like it, because last week was The Handmaid's Tale. I don't see anything new here TV-wise. But like I said, they've been mixing in some of the new releases like around this area. Instead of always, because they used to always just be in the front for the most part, and then every first Tuesday of the month they'd change out this area and put in some new stuff. But sometimes, like I said, they've been putting them like over here now. But it doesn't look like anything else different, though, as far as I can tell. And this past weekend, the only movie that I saw in theaters was the movie 21 Bridges, which stars Chadwick Boseman. And it's basically, though, about like these guys that were, stealing something from this bar, and what ends up happening though is all these cops, swarm the bar, and they end up killing these cops, and they're like, getting away and like running throughout the city. And Chadwick Boseman's character is like the cop who's in charge of trying to find them, like he's heading up the case, and he's like saying, close the bridges, basically close off Manhattan so no one can get off the island. By closing, basically closing the ports, closing all the bridges, close everything that that you can close to to keep the people from leaving. That's what he has to do, and he only has a certain amount of time to find them before everything gets opened back up and like the trains start running again and all that stuff, and he loses his opportunity to find them as quick as he can. So it's pretty much like, it kind of reminded me of that movie Run All Night. It was a little bit like that one. The movie, though, I thought it was actually pretty good. It did have, though, some stuff in it that I didn't think was, like, perfect. Like, the end of the movie I didn't think was totally perfect. And it did kind of feel, in a weird way, like a little bit almost like the first episode of, like, a series. It almost, like, felt like it could be, like, a TV series that could kind of go on. And, like, this was, like, almost like the pilot movie. I don't know how to explain it, but it kind of had that feel to it a little bit. But I did overall like it, though. If you guys got to see that movie, though, and let me know in the comments below, what you guys thought of it, or what you guys saw this past weekend, if you guys got to see anything. Into Best Buy we go. And it's funny, in the years past, I've always seen, people already camped out, at least one or two tents, but there's no one camped out yet. It's interesting. Like I said, usually, the Tuesday before Black Friday, I've seen like people out here, but no one at all. Let me know in the comments below, though, if any of your locations you saw people camped out already, but yeah, no one here at all. But in today, though, some of the things that came out was Don't Let Go, and that one's $19.99 for that one. Like I said, if you guys have seen that one, let me know how that one was. But I actually didn't see anywhere else, though, the other new releases like Angel Has Fallen or any of those ones, so I'll have to look over in the actual section to see if they have those ones over there or not. But in here, though, just like in Target, they have all the movies already out. Of course, though, the prices, you can't get them for the prices yet, but you can see like some of the things that they're going to have. So like stuff like Charlie's Angels, the 4K, that one was recently came out. Like It on 4K, Ma. But that's the thing is sometimes, though, with these ones, they don't have the slip covers on them. Crawl, Child's Play. I don't know what the prices of all these ones are going to be. Like I said, I'm definitely coming on Black Friday, and we'll like look at this in much more detail, see some of the interesting. This is like stuff like Justice League over there, Death Wish, Red Sparrow. Some of these ones they've had in the past for Black Friday. Critters Attack, which I really liked. there are some Marvel ones over here, like the Iron Man films, and these ones are the 4K edition. So I'm not sure what the prices on these ones are going to be, because they don't have the tags out yet on them yet. Yeah, a whole lot of ones, like Avengers Endgame on 4K. Some of these ones over here, I don't know what the prices of these ones, like Mortal Engines there, 4K. Home over there, Dog's Journey. Some of the TV stuff on here, like Lost in Space, Modern Family. And then some of them, though, they only have the DVD ones of. Let's see some of the other ones. Star is Born over here, Love, Simon, Book of Life. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ones here, though. Like I said, though, of course, you can't get any of these ones for these prices yet, but it's cool just to be able to see them and, you know, which ones they're going to have. So there definitely is a large amount, though, of 4Ks that they're going to have. Stuff like Hellfest over there. So, yeah, definitely a lot of stuff. But they do have in here, though, that movie Mary they released today. That one's $14.99 for the Blu-ray of that one. It's funny is I don't see, like, Angel Has Fallen in here. It's really weird. It's not out on the shelf yet, so I don't see any. I didn't see them in the front, and I don't see any over here. And it doesn't look like they're having that Where'd You Go Bernadette either, as far as I can tell. At least I'm not seeing it in here. Like I said, I feel like Target would have had that one, but like they didn't have all the stuff changed out. But yeah, it's definitely interesting that they didn't have Angel Has Fallen in here. All I can guess is like maybe they just didn't get put out or something. But this is really cool though. They have in here Arrow Video Robocop Steelbook. So that's really cool, and that's only $19.99 in here. So that's really cool that they're carrying an Arrow Video title in here. So that's definitely really, really cool, and really, really cool Steelbook for that one. But other than that though, yeah, not really seeing anything else in here different though. Yeah, but in there, though, they did actually have a spot for Angel Has Fallen. I went back to the front and looked again, and they were all gone, so they actually sold out of those ones. You know, so like I said, I'm a little bit later, so they must have not gotten in too many copies of that one. But anyway, though, guys, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, though, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also, be sure to let me know as well any specific things you guys would like me to show for the Black Friday video, like certain items for sale, all that kind of stuff. Because always interesting to see, and they definitely do have a lot of stuff in there. It's going to be on sale. Like, I don't know all the prices yet on them, but a lot of 4Ks. But anyway, though, like I said, you know, if you guys enjoy these videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave me comments below, though, letting me know, you know, what you guys picked up on DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K, if you guys picked up anything today. And let me know as well what you guys thought of all the DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks that I reviewed at the end of this video. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching and subscribing. Now stay tuned for the reviews. And the first one I got here is from Shout Factory Scream Factory line. It's a really, really cool collection here. And this is the Fly Collection here on Blu-ray. And I love the design of this. And here's a look, though, at the front. You have Jeff Goldblum down here. And a look at the side, the back. I don't know. I really love the way this one is designed, and that each has individual discs. So I'm going to go through all these ones that are in here. Like the first ones here, though, are the original films, which is, you know, The Fly, and then the Return of the Fly, and Curse of the Fly. The first movie, though, that's one of those movies, I remember seeing this one as a little kid, and, like, absolutely loving this movie. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but anytime I think of this movie, I always think of, you know, Little Monsters, you know, the Fred Savage movie, because, like, in that movie, they're watching a scene from this. But if you guys don't know, you know, it's basically, though, about this scientist who has this teleportation device that he creates, and, you know, he ends up going through it, and, you know, he goes in by mistake with a fly, and he ends up having the head of a fly, is basically what happens. And it's, you know, of course, it stars Vincent Price. But on here, though, feature-wise, this has a commentary track on here with actor David Al Henderson and film historian David Del Val, as well as a biography on Vincent Price. It has on here a theatrical trailer, has a still gallery, and then the sequels on these ones. I thought these ones were really fun sequels as well. And these ones here, Return of the Fly, has a commentary track on here with actor David Frankham. That has a commentary on here with actor Brett Halsey, as well as film historian David Del Val. Theatrical trailer, TV spot, still gallery, and then on The Curse of the Fly, that has a TV spot as well as a still gallery. Now on to the, you know, the remake ones, which I absolutely, and I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to like the Fly remake, I have to say I think it's probably one of my
favorite movies of all time. Like everything about this Fly, and this is of course directed by David Cronenberg and stars Jeff Goldblum, and Gina Davis. But something about this movie, and it's just something about it to me is like one of my top favorite movies of all time. Everything about this movie, I absolutely love the music in this movie, the theme, just like the whole vibe. And I also feel like Jeff Goldblum, out of everything he's ever done, this is probably, to me, my favorite of all of his performances. I felt like there was something about this, like everything to me about this movie worked. Everything was interesting about it. It was really sad. And this was basically, though, about Jeff Goldblum's character who has the teleportation devices. And, of course, though, he meets Gina Davis's character who is, like, writing an article on him because of the scientific discoveries that he's done. And, of course, he goes through with a fly, but instead of having, like, a head of the fly, like in the original film, he starts to kind of change and mutate, and it's just like, and it's also too, it's also deals too with like this relationship between his character and Gina Davis, and they really are, what's going on with them, but as the changes happen, it's like probably my favorite David Cronenberg movie as well. It's like one of those movies, if you guys have never seen it, it's an absolute must watch. Like I said, everything about this movie to me is perfect. It has on here though brand new interviews on here with producers Mel Brooks and Stuart Kornfeld, as well as a commentary track on here with author William Beard. On here it has a commentary track with David Cronenberg, a 3-part documentary with David Cronenberg, deleted scenes with storyboard, alternate ending, as well as some promotional featurettes, theatrical trailer, TV spots, and the sequel, which stars Eric Stoltz. I actually like this one. This was when I actually saw this one. Of course I saw the original Fly first as a little kid, but then this was the one I saw before the Jeff Goldblum, the one starring Jeff Goldblum. But I saw this one, and this is about like the son of the Fly, son of Jeff Goldblum, and I actually like this one as well. I know this one wasn't like perfect or anything, but this is the one I saw first, so I always kind of like this one. I saw this one like on TV as a little kid, and I honestly always liked this one a lot as well. And it's kind of about the scientific experiments that are being done to the Jeff Goldblum's character's son and all these type of things. But has on here though brand new interviews on here with writer Mick Garris, as well as the composer in this one, special effects makeup artist Tom Sullivan, the producer on here, commentary track on here with the director, as well as a film historian Bob Bernds, alternate ending, deleted scenes. As on here some featurettes, as well as some vintage featurettes. But this is just a really, really cool collection here of movies that I would say are absolute must watches. Like I said, I love the way this is designed here. Has great new features on here, so definitely an absolute. If you guys have never seen these movies, all of them in my opinion are really good. Especially the original and the remake. But to me, they're all really, really fun movies and just such a cool hardbound case. And really love the design on this one. Now, the next one here is from Lionsgate, and this is also an A24 release as well. And it's a movie here called Low Tide. This is a movie I did not know much about this one going into it. It's a very interesting movie about a group of these friends, and it's like the one brother, the one who's the younger brother who was also in the movie It, the new It films. He's in them, and it's basically about him and his brother, and then his brother's friends, who are like, because his brother's a couple years older than him, and his friends, and it's kind of like during the summer they end up kind of. What they do is they go around and they like break into houses, because they live on this kind of like it's like a New York, and it's like kind of like an island area where it's like you have to take a ferry to get in. There's like tourists that come there all the time, and what they do is they break into like the tourist houses and things like that and steal things, and that's kind of like what they do to get money. And they end up breaking into this one place where the guy who actually lived there, this old man who passed away, and they kind of had heard rumors about him having money and things like that. And though the two brothers, though, they end up discovering in the floorboards these coins, these like really valuable like gold doubloon coins that are buried underneath of the the floorboards, and they discover them. They don't tell any the other two guys about it or anything like that. But essentially, though, it's kind of about them finding this money, and they have one friend too who's kind of like the older guy, he's like real violent in the way he acts, and he's kind of hot-headed and kind of like he's done some terrible things to other people, so they kind of like really don't want him to find out about this at all. And it deals with too, like right, this is the very beginning when they find the coins, though. The one kid ends up getting arrested, and like it's all sorts of problems going on. This is one of those movies that it's kind of like a coming of age set, you know, during the summer. And I think this was like, I believe it was like the 90s is when this was set, like the early 90s is when it was set. But acting wise though, I thought this was really, really well acted. Really liked this movie a lot. It's a really great character piece. The one actress in here too was recently in a movie that I reviewed called Prey, which I really liked, and she was in this movie as the one girl who's like kind of like the tourist in the town and everything that they meet. But this is a really interesting movie. Check out the trailer for this one. I really like this. The next one here is from Lionsgate as well, and it's Semper Fi, and this one stars Jay Courtney, Nat Wolff, Finn Wittrock, you know, who is in the American Horror Stories and a bunch of different stuff. Jay Courtney was in, you know, the Divergent films and a bunch of different stuff. And this is basically, though, about like a group of these, you know, these two brothers and their friends who are all in the, was it the Marine Corps Reserves. And the one, though, Jay Courtney's character is a cop as well. And his brother, though, is played by Nat Wolff. And basically, though, in the beginning of this movie, Nat Wolff's character is kind of like doing some bad things, and certain things happen, and he ends up getting, you know, something that he does. He ends up, you know, he defends himself from this guy that was attacking him, but the guy ends up dying, and you know, Nat Wolff's character ends up going to prison for this, and he gets like 25 years. And this is in the beginning of the movie, and you know, then his brother and his friends who are all in the Marine Corps, they end up actually getting shipped out, and they're there for like a number of months. And why Nat Wolff's character is in prison, and Nat Wolff's character is like getting like all sorts of problems in there, and people, the prison guards are giving him grief and attacking him, and he's having all kinds of problems there. And it's basically, though, about you know, Jay Courtney's character and his friends who are in the Marines with him, and who are friends with, you know, Nat Wolff's character as well. And it's like them trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to get him out of prison. And that's essentially what this movie was about. But this is a really, really well acted character piece here as well. This has on here deleted scenes, a making of on here. It has a commentary track on here with the director. The next one here is from Fox. This is a movie, the new movie that's directed by, Richard Linklater. He, of course, did Boyhood and Slackers, or Slacker. And it's a movie here starring Cate Blanchett called Where Did You Go, Bernadette? And this is one of those movies, I didn't know too much going into this movie. It also has in here, I know I always say his last name wrong, Billy Crudup, as well as Kristen Wiig, Judy Greer, and Lawrence Fishburne. And this is basically about Cate Blanchett's character, who is this architect who, you know, 20 years before this movie set, she was really like designed this building, this house that was like really like one of those kind of things that was like big, and everybody like, you know, was in all kind of architect kind of magazines. It was all talked about, and she really like was someone who was set to be such a star in the architect world and design world and all these kind of things. And she ends up, you know, after she builds this house, she ends up moving with her husband to, you know, Seattle. And basically when she gets there, she kind of gives up. She kind of stops doing things. She kind of is like in this kind of slump, and she's also really erratic with the way she gets. She goes on these rants and kind of goes and rants about things about, oh, this and this and that, and goes on, and she's kind of falling apart. And like her relationship with her husband is not doing well, and her husband is like works like in a Microsoft type of thing, and he has all these like big kind of clients that he works for and has all this money and everything. So she's kind of able to just sort of live in the house, but she's not really doing much. And her neighbor, though, is played by Kristen Wiig, and she has all these great scenes with her having these like disagreements with Kristen Wiig's character about like this hill at her house, and this like these plants that are on the hill that she doesn't like, and they have all sorts of disagreements back and forth and everything. But this is basically, though, about Cate Blanchett's character, you know, having problems with pills and just all sorts of problems, and about what ends up happening and where she ends up going. Because like the big thing in the beginning of this movie, they keep talking about how her daughter wants to go to Antarctica on this trip, and Cate Blanchett's character is like dreading this and keeps on like looking up things online about it, not wanting to do it. But I will say this is one of those movies I really got into it. Like by the end of it, I'll be honest, like it's one of those movies I shed some tears of this movie, and more than I was expecting to. And like I said from the trailer, I didn't know what I was going to think of this, and I honestly really got into this movie. This is a little bit of a different kind of vibe movie for Richard Linklater, a little bit more like serious in a sense in some ways. But I really honestly, if you guys have watched this one, let me know what you thought. But this is one I would really say is worth checking out, because I honestly really like this one. It has on here though featurette on here about bringing Bernadette to life, about featurette about a making of on here, as well as a gallery, a still gallery in this one as well. And the next one I got here is from Epic Pictures, and this is from their Dread Presents line. It's a movie here called The Fair. Now this movie, I'm going to give this movie a top recommendation. I love this movie. This is basically, I always love movies that are like, Groundhog Day, time warp, kind of stuck in time warp kind of movies. And this is kind of what this is. It's got that kind of vibe of what's going on. This is about a cab driver who's driving this old school cab out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. He gets like a call from this dispatcher going, "Did you pick her up, the woman yet? Did you get her yet?" Because they're out in the middle of nowhere, so he's going really far out into the desert to get this woman. And like this great banter back and forth between the cab driver and the dispatcher over the radio and everything. And basically what's going on though is he ends up picking up this woman, and it's out in the middle of this storm is coming, this like electrical storm kind of going on. And as soon as like he gets to a certain area, the woman just vanishes, disappears. And then he goes, "I don't know where she went." And he tells the dispatcher, and he's like, "Oh, cut that one off as a loss. Just forget it and head back into the city." And then he puts the thing off that says, the cab, there's no one in it. And then all of a sudden he loops back over. He's back on the same road again, going on the same situation to pick up the woman again. And he's getting the same call, hearing the same things on the radio, like I said, like a Groundhog Day, the same thing. But he doesn't really remember. He has no idea that, he's in this time warp. And then he ends up picking up the woman again. But for some reason, this time though, he ends up little by little, he starts to remember things about this woman. He starts to remember that he saw her. And then like it's kind of like what's going on there. And it's basically him, remembering now, like maybe about 15 minutes into this movie, he's starting to remember and trying to figure out exactly how he's going to get out of this time loop and this time warp. And there was, this isn't totally like a full horror movie. It's more of like a romantic kind of vibe between both of them. But then it's also got some like horror aspects to it mixed in. There was like an aspect of this that kind of creeped me out a little bit. I won't lie. There was like this like a creepy vibe to this movie. But I really like this movie. This was, I don't know, this one I honestly really love this film. Has on here though a commentary track on here with the director as well as the writer and star Brianna Kelly. Brianna Kelly, the star of the film, she also wrote the movie. Hopefully, I definitely would love to see more stuff from her that she writes and everything and acting. She did a really good job on this. This also has on here original opening, extended scenes, making of, and trailers. And it's also in black and white and color, and I love the way they were switching between it. I don't want to say how they were doing that, but it really works well, but really like this one a lot. The next one here is from this is from, Dark Force Entertainment, and this is Dead Pit here, and this one actually glows in the dark here. Yeah, but as you can see, it glows in the dark, and you see like the, the zombie, and then it says Dead Pit here, so really cool. So as you can see, this one glows in the dark. And this is one of those movies, I've always really liked this movie. This is one of those movies, kind of reminds me a little bit of the movie Doom Asylum, like a little bit, because it's set in an insane asylum. And this is basically, though, in the beginning of this movie, this was like an insane asylum where this like crazy doctor was like doing all sorts of weird experiments, and the one doctor there stops the guy because he kind of follows him down in the basement, out in this way down in the basement of this place where he's like this hole in the ground, and he's down there doing these strange experiments, and he ends up killing the guy, the doctor. And it's like many years later, and this woman ends up getting admitted into the hospital now, and she has like, for some reason she can't remember who she is. She's totally like blank, but because she can't remember who she is, she's sent to this the insane asylum. And essentially as soon as she gets there ends up being this like big earthquake, and it kind of awakens this crazy doctor in the basement, and he's back there in there kind of going and doing his weird experiments again, and it's like crazy like gory kind of experiments, and it's just a really creepy atmospheric movie. I've always, like I said, I always really liked this movie. And this has on here a brand new 2K scan from the original camera negative with extensive scene-by-scene correction on here. Really, really great transfer on this one. They did a really great job cleaning up the film here. Also has on here on-camera interviews on here with Cheryl Lawson, Jeremy Slate, the director, and as well as the writer and producer on this one as well. But really, really cool movie. Would definitely recommend you guys check this one out if you guys have not seen this movie before. Like I said, this one is from Dark Force Entertainment. The next one here is from RLJ Entertainment. It's a movie here starring Gary Oldman called Mary. And this is basically, though, about Gary Oldman's character who like kind of has like a business when he takes people out on a boat, kind of like like on like little trips and stuff, like day trips on his boat. And he really wants to have his own boat. That's kind of like his dream. So he goes to like boat auctions to see if he can ever kind of afford a boat and have his own business and everything. But when he gets there, though, there's this old kind of broken down, like really messed up boat there, and he like sees it, and immediately like he like has this like, it's like he's like drawn to it and wants to get this boat. So he ends up buying this boat, and the boat is like really messed up. It's like full of like barnacles all over it, and it's all screwed up and everything, but he like really wants to get this boat, and he spends all this money on it. I'm thinking like, because the boat in the beginning of this movie, you see this boat was like found out in the middle of nowhere, and you know something up had happened on it. But essentially, though, as soon as he gets this boat, he goes out there with his family, and like it's like a haunted boat. Like as soon as he gets out there, like he's like weird things are happening, and like you find out more and more about the history of this boat and stuff as it goes along. But it's basically though about Gary Oldman's character out there with his family, kind of like getting more and more drawn to this boat while he's out there. Why really odd things start to happen, and like the one's boyfriend, he like starts cracking up and going crazy out there, and all sorts of kind of stuff. And it's like I said, it's basically like a haunted ship on there, haunted ship with like all sorts of bad things happening on it. This one has on here though a making of on here, as well as a interview on here with the cast, talking about the film and all that kind of stuff. But a pretty interesting, like creepy old dilapidated boat movie when he buys his boat, and it's like and it's just like all sorts of problems go along with it. The next ones here are all from moviezing.com, and I have a link where you guys can order these ones for the best price. And the first one here is a movie that has like Eric Robertson here and Martin Kove, and it's called a Karate Christmas Miracle. What's funny is, like when I was watching this one, I was like, I've seen this other movie, because they had clips in this movie, like when the one kid was having these bad dreams, and it was like clips from a different movie that the writer, I believe, had acted in, and like I believe he wrote it, and like I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I think it took me forever to figure out what it was, but I believe it was called Joker's Wild, because I knew I saw this footage and I figured out what it was from. But it's basically about this kid who father had gone missing, because there was this like movie theater where some bad things had happened to the people at it, but his father was never found. They don't know what happened to him for sure, because he was never discovered. So he's been missing for like a year. And this kid though is really into karate, and he says to his mom that he has this feeling that if he can get a black belt before Christmas, he only has a little bit of time to do it, but he thinks that if he can get that, his father will come back. So it's basically though, he's trying everything he can to do this, and he's always having these bad dreams about his father and kind of what was going on in this movie theater. And there's also scenes in here too with like the mother though is going and talking to this psychic, and talking to the psychic about her husband and like what had happened, and the psychic is saying, well, maybe if your son is thinking this, maybe there's some truth to this. Maybe this could really happen if he does get his black belt. And that's pretty much what this one was about here. Like I said, this one is called A Karate Christmas Miracle, and that the company that released this one was I think it's KDMG. I believe that's the company, but I'll have a link though below, like I said, for this. The next one here is from moviezing.com as well. This is also a Shudder release, and it's a movie here called Small Town Killers. And this was this one was basically though about these two guys who's had really bad relationships with their wives. The wives like kind of ignoring them. They're not really having like basically it's just kind of like they're kind of like, I don't know, just having all sorts of problems, and they're always like kind of out together doing their own thing, kind of talking and like stewing about their problems, stewing about what's going wrong in their lives and everything. And they kind of come up with the idea that they want their wives gone. So they come up with the idea of like hiring this like a contract killer kind of guy, and it's like but it becomes kind of like a big bumbling problem. It's kind of like all the kind of things that happen with this. The movie kind of has like a vibe, like the guys together kind of have like a feel of like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, like kind of like a you know, kind of that kind of vibe, like a Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, kind of like they're together the way they are. It has that kind of feel to it a little bit. And it's a film, it's a, you know, in Danish as well, but I thought this was a really interesting film here. The next one here is from moviezing.com as well. This is also from The Film Detective. It's a movie here called Iga, and this is a really fun movie here, and this one is limited to 1,500 copies for this release. But it has on here though Iga, the main version of the film, but it also has the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version from 1993, as well as an interview with Mystery Science Theater 3K creator Joe Hodgson, as well as an interview on here with the star Art Harl Jr. A 4K restoration. The transfer on here looks great, but like I said, it's really cool with having the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version, because I always love like the riff that they do, and it's really cool that it's included. But this is basically though about this giant caveman who ends up kind of like living out, like, you know, and he comes across this woman whose car breaks down. He ends up kind of falling in love with her, and there's kind of all this awkward, wacky stuff between them. And the girlfriend has this boyfriend who's kind of like an Elvis Presley kind of guy, and he's kind of trying to track her down and find her. And it's a really, really fun, wacky movie. Like I said, if you guys have not seen this one, this is definitely one I would say to check out. And also, like I said, it's really cool that it includes the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version as well on here. Now, the next one I got here is from Mill Creek. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know with Mill Creek, which is some really cool news, is they just announced that in February they're going to release the film Restricted Area on DVD. That's a horror film that I acted in with Danny, you know, Cinestalker from YouTube. We both acted in the film. We're in the beginning of the movie. They're releasing it on DVD in February, and I'll make sure to let you guys know more about that as well as it gets close to the release and everything. But I'm really excited they're going to be releasing that one. But what I have here from Mill Creek to show you guys is Ultraman Ultra 7 here on this really cool Steelbook edition here. Now, they released the first 2 seasons on Steelbook as well a couple weeks back. Like I said, this is our month or so back, and this is the third of the season here of the series. Now, this one has on here the Blu-ray of the show, as well as digital copies, which you guys can watch the digital versions on moviespree.com. This also includes the original Japanese audio track on this one. Now, I'm going to show you guys, though, a look inside and the steelbook and all that kind of stuff, but here's a look at the front, look at the back. These are really, really well-designed steelbooks. Here's a look inside. Like I said, it also includes the digital copy of the show as well. But what's cool, too, is they include these really nice, detailed, intricate episode guides here, which has all kind of stuff about the production. So it kind of has stuff about the production of the show, and it has on here, though, some stuff on here about, like, the main characters on the show. And like I said, it's an detailed episode guide with you know, synopsis and photos from the episode. But what's also cool is they include a guide in here as well, showing you guys some stuff about the monsters that you see on the show. And they have a thing on the back here that shows you all the different monsters that appear in this particular you know, season of the series. But really cool that they've been releasing these ones. The next one here is from CBS Paramount, and this is also a Showtime series. And this is a series here called City on a Hall. This is the complete first season here, and this stars Kevin Bacon and Aldous Hodge. And this is the one I just want to let you guys know that was available. This is basically, though, set in the 90s in Boston. It's basically, though, about Kevin Bacon's character, who's this corrupt, I believe, is in the FBI. Like there's a lot of like crime and problems going on in the city at this time in the 90s when this is set. And Kevin Bacon's character is kind of doing some bad things and kind of corrupt sort of stuff going on. And he ends up working with this guy who he's basically trying to clean things up, but they're also dealing with this big thing going on with these people who are robbing these armored trucks and these armored truck robberies and all these kind of stuff. And they're kind of like focusing on on that, as well as trying to clean things up, and that kind of all the different kind of, there's like all the corruption too that they find, because you know Kevin Bacon's character does some corrupt things, but then they find out about more and more corruption that is going on and everything. But on here though, this has inside the episodes 1 through 3, so it has inside episodes, featurettes on here for 3 of the episodes, as well as Kira Cedric directs one of the episodes on here, a featurette on about her directing one, as well as a featurette on here about, you know, the shooting locations capturing Boston as well on here. And the next one here is from Cinedigm. It's a movie here called D-Day, called D-Day, Battle of Omaha Beach. And this one has on here Chuck Liddell, as well as Randy Coulter stars in this movie. And this is, you know, set during World War III, and it's basically about a group of these soldiers. And this is also an Asylum production. This is a much more, you know, serious in tone Asylum film, because Asylum is, you know, known for like Sharknado and those kind of like creature features and those kind of movies. But this is a much more serious in tone film. And this is basically though about the American soldiers who are going to kind of stop these group of all these German soldiers, and they're trying to kind of, they have like it's basically like these trying to where they have like their like bunkers and that kind of thing. They're trying to get to this area, and it's kind of about them going through there and kind of like have, you know, kind of wandering into all these kind of violence and the terrible stuff that they're, you know, going through, trying to get rid of this one area where all these like people are, like the German soldiers and everything. But they kind of go through all sorts of kind of, you know, problems and everything, because like I said, this is based on, you know, everything that was going on in World War II. But it's just a really, really, you know, heavy drama, you know, serious in tone, you know, of course action elements as well in here. But like I said, it's very different for Asylum, different type of film. And I thought they did a really good job on this one here. It's something really different. The next one here is from Screen Media. This is an anthology film here called Portals. Portals. And this is basically though, it's from some of the people who brought you the Blair Witch Project, VHS, and Beyond Skyline. This is all about, you know, it's an anthology film, but they all connect by the basis of these like these portals, these doors that are kind of showing up in the middle of all over the place. And it's kind of like one of them shows up in this office building, and people are there like trying to figure out exactly what is this thing, and can they go through it, like what is exactly happening. One of them happens in the middle of this garage. That was probably my favorite segment, was the one in this garage. Like these two sisters are like there, and like I think they were trying, like in a mall, trying to get gifts and stuff like that. And this portal shows up in this garage, and they're like trying to figure out exactly what's happening, because like if anyone like stares at the portals, like weird things start to happen. They kind of almost kind of like blank out and start to kind of like lose themselves and stuff by looking at it. And it's just a really interesting, like I said, it's a science fiction anthology film, but with all these bases of these portals, and you know what they're kind of seeing, and like they're popping up everywhere, and kind of trying to figure out what they all mean and everything, and they all sorts of, you know, bad things are happening from these. But I thought this was a really pretty interesting anthology film here. The next one here is from Well Go USA. This is one that I wanted the guys know was available, and it's a movie here called Savage. And this is basically though, this has a really great setting, because this is all in the middle of like this on this mountain in the middle of this like terrible snowstorm. And it's just this cop who's like kind of patrols up there and like has a base up there, and kind of he's basically snowed in up there because it's like this horrific snow, and it's dealing with these criminals who are out there trying to they're trying to basically find something up there that they're trying to basically find, like they're trying to get, and they're kind of up there, and this cop is up there, and it's like this heavy action film with them all like out there trying to like basically survive, because they kind of get stuck up there because the snow is so terrible. They find themselves trapped there and everything. But like I said though, just want you guys to know this one was available from Well Go USA, and this is a movie here called Savage. This also has the original Mandarin language on this one as well. And the next one I got here is from Public Media Distribution, and this is Garford and Friends, the complete second season here on DVD. It has all 10 hours of the show here. So I think it's really cool that they're releasing complete series of this show. This is a show that I watched all the time as a little kid. I watched this thing like crazy. Like I remember having all the because they didn't ever have like seasons and stuff like that when I was a kid, but they used to have like compilation like VHS tapes and stuff that had like a couple different like random episodes, or like they had like Christmas ones, or like holiday ones, or like Garfield's 9 Lives. That was one of the ones that I watched all the time. But to me, this is just so cool that these have like, you know, starting to get complete season sets here of these ones. And this is a 3 disc set here. Like I said, one of the guys know this one was available, but this is one of these shows that like I said, grew up watching this one. Always loved this show, so it's so cool to see these ones getting, releases. The next ones here are both from, from Black Fawn Distribution, and this is a movie here called I'll Take Your Dead. And I talked about this one a little while back, and I really like this movie. This is basically about this father and his daughter, and like he has this kind of business where if like a criminal like kills somebody, and they don't know what to do with the body, he basically just takes the body and gets rid of them. He like dissolves them in acid and like basically makes these people vanish off the face of the earth. Like if someone like that's kind of what he does. And it's basically him with his daughter, and his daughter there though, she starts kind of seeing weird things, and it's like really affecting her what's going on. She knows there's some weird things going on in this house, and she starts seeing these weird visions. But what happens though is one of the people that's brought in that was believed to have been dead isn't. She ends up waking up, and he has to try and figure out what he wants to do, because he's not someone who's like a killer. He's just somebody who just takes bodies that people are brought in, and that's kind of the only way he makes a living. And so he doesn't know what to do. So it's kind of, he's like in this crisis of trying to figure out exactly what he's going to do. But I really like this movie. This is one of those ones I would definitely recommend if you guys have not seen this movie. Definitely a must watch. Has on here though a making of featurette, which has interviews with the cast and crew. Has 6 unreleased deleted scenes on this one, from script to screen, side by side comparison of the film script to the final cut, as well as trailers. This one here is from Black Fawn Distribution as well, and this is Bed of the Dead. This is sort of a remake of, Deathbed, The Bed That Eats, which I always thought that was a fun movie. And there's actually has an interview on here with the director of the original movie. But this is basically, though, about this kind of cop who's investigating this murders that had happened, or these bodies that were kind of found at this bed in this kind of hotel. It's like this weird kind of hotel. People kind of go and like have parties and all sorts of things. And it's basically though about a group. It kind of cuts to, you see like these bodies in there, and then it cuts to the people who are getting there and kind of shows how they got there and how they died. And it's basically though these two friends and both their girlfriends, they're kind of getting this renting this room, and they kind of have a plan of having like a basically all sort of sleeping together. They kind of have this plan, and basically though when they get on the bed, they kind of like, if anyone gets off the bed and leaves, like they will die in these terrible deaths. So they basically are trapped on this bed, and it's kind of like all these sort of crazy deaths that are happening. I thought this was a really fun, like crazy movie. I love the original movie as well. Like I said, this is not like a remake per se, but it's based on a similar concept to that one, because the original one had all these trippy sequences of like melting into the bed and all these kind of crazy weird kind of things. This one doesn't have as much of that kind of vibe, but it has more like gory effects and everything. It's basically though about the cops investigating and trying to figure out exactly what had happened, because all sorts of weird things had happened in the past there as well, in this hotel room. But it has on here though making a featurette, which also has interviews with the director of with the original 77 film Deathbed, The Bed That Eats. It also has on here though Bed of the Dead, featuring previously Bed of the Dead music box, which has previously unreleased music from the composer, as well as trailers on this one. The next ones here are ones I just want you guys to know are available, and these ones are all from MVD. And this is the Dick Cavett Show. This is the 2-disc set, which is all New York radio pioneers. This is really cool here, because this has on here Bob Elliott, Ryan Golding, Don Imus, and Howard Stern. Howard Stern was the one I was most excited on here. And this one, the Howard Stern one, though, it has 3 different appearances. It has appearance from 1989, 1991, and 1986. And the Don Imus one was from 1995. And then the ones with Bob Elliott and Ryan Golding, those were from 72 and then 86. But, I always love Howard Stern interviews. I listen to, Sirius XM and listen to Howard Stern all the time. So anything like interviews with him is really cool. And Dick Cavett too, I always like his interview and his styles and everything. And he also was in Beetlejuice, acting in Beetlejuice. Like I said, though, I want to let you guys know this was available, and it was all on, like I said, New York radio personalities. The next one here is, this is called, this is the David Susskind Archives, and this is interview with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. this is an interview with him, Dr. Martin Luther King. That was from, I believe it's from 1963, June 9th, 1963. So I'll let you guys know that this one was available, as well as a movie here called from Juno Films presents Barbara Rubin and the Exploding New York Underground. Then this one here, like I said, one of you guys know this one was available, and this one has on here though Keep Singing, a tribute to Jonas Mika's short, and as well as a trailer on this one. But anyway though guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.